Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Today is, oh my goodness, today is Monday, August 15th, and we are officially halfway through the month of August. That's a topic right there. We can talk about being halfway through the month. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. I feel like we have so much to talk about. Check out this new shirt, Stronger Together. This really summed up how I feel about the weekend. And I can't even tell you how much I need this Energize so much. So I hope you're doing well this morning. I'm excited to talk to you this morning and just let's talk about all the things. So first of all, let's get you straightened out here. Okay, first of all, how are you? That's number one. How are you? How's your energy? How was your weekend? Also, listen, I made Energize yesterday twice, and both times I made it without ice, and that's unacceptable. So we're gonna have so much ice in this Energize today, and I am so excited for it. So first of all, how are you? How was your weekend? Tell me what you did. Tell me those things while I get this Energize going. So as you pop on your whip around is to tell me how you're feeling this morning and what you did over the weekend. Tell me all those things. I mean, right, Kate? Like the ice, the fact that I was drinking Energize without ice, I'm like, where am I? What's happening right now? Be best you. Please change your Instagram handle to your first and last name so we can have a conversation, and then tell me about your super weekend. Don't tell me about it until you've changed your Instagram. Nikki, you had Joel this weekend, yes? You had Joel in Chicago this weekend? Oh my gosh. It looked like it was just incredible. Absolutely incredible, and I love him so much. My friend Christy, who you may have met on Energize Live back in May, she went to Super Saturday in Minnesota, and he was there. So she's like, boy, Steph Welty, Philadelphia is always like off the charts. I was there years ago for, we called it the game plan. It wasn't a super weekend. It was called the game plan, and it's just, Philadelphia's off the charts. Christy Nur. Where'd you go to Super Saturday? Tell me where you went. I want to know. Krista, where'd you go to Super Weekend? Did you go in Indiana? I'm looking through who went. You missed Joel in Minnesota? Why did you miss him? Are you Ashy Bashy? We can't have a conversation until you change your Instagram handle. So tell me, Super Sunday. Michelle Young, I know you. We were hanging out yesterday together. Michelle Young in Kansas City, tell me, are you sore this morning? Because I'm so mad at myself this morning. I am so freaking sore this morning. We'll talk about that too. I'm so freaking sore this morning. So tell me, okay. Amy, you co-hosted Atlanta's Super Saturday. I love that. Good for you, Amy. Awesome job. Hosting it and planning it, man, it's no joke. I did that for years and years in Indiana. Years. Okay, I'm just going through here. Atlanta Super Saturday. Look at that. Atlanta Super Saturday was lit. So you did a good job. You're amazing. Legs are pretty sore. Really, here, my back. Let me tell you, if your back's not sore from yesterday's workout, you could have worked harder. I said what I said on a Monday morning. Yes, I did. Denham Springs. Kimmy Cork, Super Saturday in Denham Springs. Where is Denham Springs? Tell me where that is. Kelly and Francis, we worked out together. Kayla, we worked out together. I love it so much. Here, I want to talk about live events. I'm going to talk about it. So I know I'm so sore. I'm going to finish this. It's in Louisiana. Okay, listen, give me 1 second because we're about to fill this to the top with ice. I can't wait. And then we're going to go outside because I think my husband is about to come out and make his first thing. So give me 1 second to get some ice in here. Listen, you have no idea how much ice I have in here and how excited I am about it. So I'm getting a late start today because we just had such a weekend of late nights and stuff. And yesterday was, I got up yesterday at 3 a.m. and flew to Kansas City yesterday and then did the Super Sunday yesterday. Spoke several times, did the workout, and then flew back home last night. And then there's a time change because they're on Central, we're on Eastern. So I didn't get to bed till like midnight last night. And I did set my alarm for 6 a.m. And I was like, my body is so I couldn't. I'm like, I turned it off because we don't hit snooze. I turned it off. I'm like, I'm just going to lay here for just a minute. And when that just a minute turned into an hour, I'm like, okay. So my body needed an hour. Okay, okay, all right, good. We're ready to go. We're not even plugged in. Let's go outside. That way I get out of the way and my husband can make his Energize, or his first thing. Oh, my stars, y'all. Also, I want to just point this out again. This painting brings me so much joy. You've probably seen this in the background. And here's a little thing that's happening as we speak right now. I had the painter. He doesn't paint that much on a regular, but you know, I'm a previous customer. I have several paintings by him. He's making me some new ones for this house, and I think one of them is coming this week, and I cannot wait to show you when it gets here. Oh my goodness. It's like every time he sends me like a work in progress picture, I'm like, I can't even breathe. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, so some of you went to live events this weekend. Some of you went to, didn't. And let's talk about that for a second, because I chose this shirt specifically because after 2.5 years of not having live events, right, we are sort of out of practice. We're a little bit out of practice of going to live events. And what I think happens sometimes, and you can let this ping you or not. I don't know what your situation was. But what I think happens sometimes is we've gotten out of practice of these live events because for 2 years we didn't have a live, big yearly conference. We didn't have live quarterly events. Just the world in general did not have live events, and we got out of practice. And it was a cool opportunity over the past couple of years for people to see how they could still connect with people via the internet. And this is how we connected. This is how we have Energize Live. It's the coolest ever, these amazing platforms that let us connect with people from all over the world. So we got a little bit out of practice. So then I think what has happened, and I'm going to say what I say, what I think has happened is because we got out of practice, when a live event comes up that might be slightly inconvenient, or we may have to put a little bit of effort to drive there, or a little bit of effort to make sure our children are taken care of, or a little bit of effort to whatever it might be, change our schedule. When we have to put a little bit of effort towards attending that live event, we're out of practice, and it's really easy to go, oh, I'm just not going to go. I'm just not going to. I'll just do the virtual because that's an option. I'll just do the virtual event. And when you do that, when you give yourself that out of a live event, and you can apply this across the board, because we all have events and circumstances in our lives where it's a little bit inconvenient to show up. Maybe it's a little bit out of our comfort zone. Maybe we don't know anyone. It's so good. Ooh, that's so good today. All the ice. And it's just a little bit uncomfortable maybe to show up to these events. Maybe we have to go by ourselves. We had to, coordinate the schedule with our spouse. We had to get care for our children. And it got a little bit inconvenient. And so we let ourselves off the hook and we don't go. And when there's a whole other layer to this too. There's a whole other layer to this. Because these live events, in specifically, the business world, it's kind of, it can be, gosh, it could just be anything. But I'm specifically in this business world, in this, entrepreneurship world, these live events when you show up to these live events, there's now an expectation that you're going to do something with this opportunity for which you've shown up. So when you don't show up to that live event and you don't tap into the community and you don't listen and soak in and absorb, and I'll just do the virtual, you're letting yourself off the hook for being in community, for getting stronger together. You're also letting yourself off the hook for actually doing something with this opportunity that's in your life, whatever that might be. And I really believe you can take this across the board to everything. So you probably know that my daughter Jessie left yesterday to go to, so she's in Toronto right now. And she is in Toronto for the next 5+ weeks. What is it? 6 weeks, I think, 6 weeks. Training for the Disney Cruise Line. And then she'll come back here for a couple days, and then she gets on the boat, and she's on the boat till the end of May 31st. And she was preparing to leave for these next 6 weeks, and she was having a conversation with her mentor. And her mentor was saying to her, sometimes going to lunch with your cast member friends, sometimes going to that party that you are maybe don't actually want to go to, sometimes maybe doing those inconvenient things, going on that day trip with the other cast members or whatever, that's part of your job. You're going to have to do those things that maybe it would be so much more convenient and easy to sit in your room or go do a workout or read a book or just kind of, be to yourself. However, doing those inconvenient things sometimes, that's part of your job. And man, that piece of advice really resonated with me when her mentor shared that with her, because how often is it easier for us to choose that virtual option, or I'm just going to stay home tonight because work is so busy, or I would have to go to that event by myself, so I'm not going to go, or it's just easier for me to just say that, I couldn't find any care for my children, or what, fill in the blank. So do you understand how this sort of mindset applies to everything? It applies to to Jessie, who's training for the cruise ship and has nothing to do with entrepreneurship. It applies to any of us who are in entrepreneurship. There are decisions and moments where it might be easier to choose that virtual option or to stay home and not get uncomfortable. It might be easier to not go to the event by myself. It might be easier to not go out to dinner with friends when you're tired or whatever. It's easier to do those kinds of things. And those kinds of things don't do anything to change your life. When you say no to all of that. So yes, there is a balance and a sweet space that you have to find. I think after 2.5+ years, though, we've gotten out of practice of the inconvenient. We've gotten out of practice of the inconvenient because sometimes getting to stuff is inconvenient. Well, yes, so's changing your life. So's making life transformation. So's creating your life on purpose. So's parenting. Hi, did you have children? That's inconvenient. Did you choose to build a business? That's probably going to be inconvenient. What I think is most inconvenient is getting to the end of my life wishing that I would have done more. That's the suckiest thing in the world. It makes me want to cringe. It makes me just sick to my stomach and breaks my heart to think that I might get to the end of my life and wish I could have done more just because I didn't feel like, or it was a little bit inconvenient to do whatever it was. So because I've just come off a weekend of life, do you think it was convenient for me to get on a plane, to get up yesterday morning at 3 a.m. and get on a plane at 6 a.m. and go to Kansas City and then come back home? No, that wasn't convenient, but my gosh, did it fill my heart. My gosh, did it fill my heart? Did it reaffirm my purpose on this planet? Did it recharge my batteries? Did it remind me that we're all on one team and that we're in this together and that the change we make is so much bigger than just a workout or a shake or whatever? Are you kidding me? Of course it was inconvenient. Of course it was worth it. Of course it was inconvenient. Of course it was worth it. We've had this conversation before. About how when I started, when I started, our team calls were at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday night. Don't do that anymore. That's gross. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, Aubrey. That means a lot. That means a lot to me. Our team calls were at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My coach did these calls on Thursday nights at 10:30. I was Eastern Time. She was Central Time. So they were 9:30 her time, 10:30 my time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's super inconvenient. I taught multiple classes all day. I had to teach again on Friday. I have 3 children. I have a family. Blah, blah, blah. Super inconvenient. 10:30 p.m. on a Thursday night. Of course it was inconvenient. Of course they were worth it. Because we lose sight of the long term. We lose sight of the long play. We lose sight of the fact that showing up for those calls 14 years ago at 10:30 p.m. at Eastern Standard Time at night when they were super inconvenient now lets me show up for this 14 years later. We lose sight of how everything is connected. And I know I said this yesterday at Kansas City, and I know I said it on Saturday in Orlando, because I actually did 2 back-to-back super events. I did Orlando here because listen, Orlando's on fire. We are growing this market. Allie Upham, longtime dear friend who's been living here, has been growing this market, and I'm here now, and we are growing. This is a freaking dynamic duo. And I'm telling you right now that you need to come in November. Here's what I want you to do. If you are not around a super weekend event, I want you to think, okay, November, for the weekend of the first weekend of November, what an awesome weekend to plan a trip to Disney and attend a super weekend. And you just come on down here with us and hang out, because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Okay, I digress. I know I said this in Orlando. I know I said it in Kansas City. Women, specifically, overestimate what you can get done in a day. You underestimate what you can get done in a life. We overestimate what we can get done in a day. We underestimate what we can get done in our life. And we forget that every single choice we make throughout the day is a choice that adds up to our life. Every single choice we make is a choice that adds up to our life. So when you choose to not show up because it's a little inconvenient, that's a choice you're adding up for your life. For your life. Hold on, please. Everyone give it up for Anne-Marie, Fit Coach. Also, you don't even need Fit Coach at the end of it. You can just be Anne-Marie, okay? You can just be Anne-Marie. Because that's who you are, and that's what we want. Can everyone please give Anne-Marie some hearts and some love and go follow her now, because we now know her first name and we can have a conversation with her. You are coachable. That means you will go far. Fantastic job on a Monday morning, Anne-Marie. Amazing job. Everyone give her some hearts, and everyone go follow her, because that's amazing. Well done. So proud of you. So proud of you. It is a beautiful name, isn't it, Heather? And now we know it, and we can use it. Anne-Marie, what a gorgeous name. Gorgeous name. Jen, I love that. I love that. Yes, come to Orlando in November and do our I'm going to push hard for Super Saturday rather than a Sunday. Number 1, because my husband's running the half marathon on Sunday, and so I need to be there to cheer him on. And number 2, Saturday, November 5th is my birthday, so we'll just celebrate my birthday with a big Super Saturday. But come for a weekend and tie it in with Disney, and come to Orlando and get in the room. And I don't give a poop if it's convenient. The convenient stuff doesn't build a life worth living. So we've got to get back in the habit after a few years, understandably, of no live events and getting out of practice. Live events are back, and you've got to do the inconvenient stuff. When I first started as a coach, when I first started as a group fitness instructor, let's go even back to that. When I first started as a group fitness instructor, listen, I taught water kickboxing to senior citizens. Just process that for a moment. Water kickboxing to senior citizens. Process it. A group of 20 older women in their 80s in the pool. Water kickboxing. Do you think that was convenient? Hell no. Do you think that I wanted to be doing that? Hell no. Did I do it? Yes, I sure did, because that's what you do. That's called paying your dues. That's called getting in the reps. That's called practicing, getting better. And that's called showing up for the stuff that's inconvenient so you can get to the stuff that you really want to do. Okay? So I did not want to be teaching water kickboxing to older women. I taught step, ba, 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 da, 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 da. Not convenient. I did not like it. You do what's inconvenient. Showed up for those 10:30 p.m. calls on Thursday nights because that's what you do. We would so then when we started live events as a Team Beachbody company, I was, Indiana I hadn't really put a stake in the ground yet. I was so new, and we didn't have live events in Indiana. We would just put people in a car and we would road trip to Tennessee. We went to Nashville. We went to Memphis. We went to Chicago. We'd put coaches and then we'd all spend the night in a hotel, like a big sleepover. It was super fun. And those conversations in the car, driving there, driving home, were so valuable. I can tell you this right now. Oh gosh, this is dredging up a memory. Wow. I remember driving back from Nashville, and it was called the Summer of Success. And what's funny is it was around this time, and I'd have to go back and look how many years ago it was. 12 years ago it was, and it was called the Summer of Success. And we drove to Nashville, and on the way back, and I had a carload of my coaches with me, and we all met in Nashville, and we did, so it was kind of like a Super Saturday, but that's not what it was called back then. And so it's called the Summer of Success. And we went to Nashville, carload of coaches, drove home from Nashville, and I said out loud in the car for the first time to my carload of coaches that when we hit this big goal that we had set for ourselves as a team, when we hit this big goal, I'm taking my team to Disney. No coach had done that before in the entire network, okay? So just so you know, all these coaches that now you see that take their teams to Disney and do the Disney trips, this girl right here was the first one, okay? Just so you know. Just so you know. So I remember saying that out loud in that car going, when we hit this goal, I'm going to take my team to Disney. I can remember driving. I know who was in the car with me. I remember saying that. That wouldn't have happened had I not been in a car with my coaches road tripping coming back from an event that we went to. It's so key that you get in rooms with other people who are on this high vibe mission, because that's where you realize you're stronger together. Nobody's got to do any of this on their own. And by any of this, I do mean life. I do mean life. So that's my thought for you today. Women tend to get on an island and think they have to do everything on their own, even though in my business, the very first name of this business is team. And it doesn't matter if you're in this business, any business, no business, whatever. Women tend to get on an island and think they have to do everything themselves. I don't know why, but it is what it is. And I'm going to ask you today on this Monday to gut check yourself. If you are sad waking up that it's Monday, if you were sad yesterday on Sunday and you're sad waking up today and you're already looking forward to Friday, I'm going to ask you why you're continuing this cycle over and over again and what are you doing about it? If you're already looking forward to Monday and you're sad that it's if you're already looking forward to Friday, you're sad that it's Monday, and you aren't leaning in and seeking out community to level up your life, I'm going to ask you why. And I'm going to remind you that what you're not changing, you're choosing. So if you are sad every Sunday, if you're waking up on Monday and you don't love the life that you're living and you can't wait to get to Friday and you aren't seeking out a high vibe community and you're not leaning in and doing the work, what you're not changing, you're choosing. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what you're doing. What you're not changing, you're choosing. And I remember feeling so sad every time we would leave Florida. Whether I was leaving my parents' house, whether we were leaving Disney, every time I would go to the Orlando airport, I was so sad. And then one day I just thought, why am I living a life that's sad? Why am I continuing to live a life that's sad? Why am I continuing to live a life where I'm looking forward to my next trip? That's not the point of life. What I'm not changing, I'm choosing. So why don't I make a change? And that's what I did. And that's what I do every single day. Because every single choice, every single habit, every single moment is adding up to the life that we live. So ask yourself on this Monday, are you living the life that you want to be living? And if you're not, which, that's okay, are you doing something about it today? Or are you, well, it's just inconvenient? Is it? Because I think living a life that's sad all the time, that feels pretty inconvenient to me. So what are you doing today to create your life on purpose, with purpose? What habits, what choices, what actions are you taking today that add up? Let's stop overestimating what we can do in a day and stop underestimating what we can do in our life. And let's remember, you are capable of anything that you put your mind to. You have to do the work. And it's going to be inconvenient. And because it's inconvenient, it is worth it. I promise that. Because it's inconvenient, it will be worth it. So on this Monday, let's do the inconvenient stuff. Let's show up today at a new level. We are halfway through this month. Let's do the inconvenient stuff. Let's create our life on purpose. Let's go create some magic this morning. Happy Monday.